The only reason I'm bringing this up is because how a small little story elevated into this crazy story that we got here today. So, Caitlin Clark is playing a game. And there's this issue with her and Angel Reese. There's this, Caitlin Clark pushes one of the teammates of Caitlin Clark. I'm sorry, Angel Reese pushes one of the teammates of Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark fouls Angel Reese. Angel Reese does one of these LeBron flops and falls on the ground. I mean, she learned it from LeBron. Falls to the ground. And the next thing you know, DeMarcus like, oh my God, she's protected. Oh, it's all because she's white and all this other stuff. And then Angel Reese comes out and she's saying all these things. And then Jameel Hill comes out. Rob, I don't know if you have this clip or not. Jameel Hill comes out and says Angel Reese at the end of her career is going to end up being, calls Angel Reese end of career will be known as Michael.
The WNBA should be riding an unprecedented wave of momentum thanks to Caitlin Clark, a once-in-a-generation talent shattering records, selling out arenas, and bringing millions of new eyes to women's basketball. But instead of capitalizing on this golden opportunity, the league is self-imploding in a spectacle of jealousy, division, and outright hostility. And the latest explosion? Brittney Griner's vile, on-care slur targeting Clark, trash-effing white girl, caught on tape and now detonating across social media.
I don't care if some trans person wants me to call them a woman, like, I'm going to call you a woman. I'm not going to, put my fucking foot down about it.
Andrew, if I told you right now, call me daddy, would you call me daddy?
No.
Why not?
Well, because
call
you're
me
not
daddy,
my dad.
Andrew.
But you're not my dad.
But I want you to call me daddy.
Enter Patrick Bet-David, the media firebrand who never holds back. In a blistering takedown, PBD didn't just condemn Griner, he exposed the toxic hypocrisy festering in the WNBA. Why are veterans like Griner and Angel Reese attacking the very player bringing the league record-breaking attention? Why is the media spinning this as racial tension instead of calling out pure envy? And why is the WNBA's leadership silent while its stars alienate the fans they desperately need? This isn't just about one ugly comment. It's about a league choosing resentment over growth. If the WNBA keeps vilifying Caitlin Clark instead of celebrating her impact, it won't just stall its progress. It might destroy itself for good. Watch PBD's full rant below, then drop your take in the comment. Like and subscribe for the real conversations ESPN won't touch.
For the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
The moment that ignited the firestorm. A single, unguarded moment caught on camera sent shockwaves through the sports world. Brittney Griner, visibly frustrated after fouling out against Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever, muttered something under her breath. Fans and lip readers quickly dissected the clip, focusing on what sounded like a venomous slur directed at Clark. The internet erupted with debates over whether it was a slip of the tongue or something more intentional.
Every time we play her, there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there, watching on purpose. It's very disruptive. It's called a freaking game.
Patrick Bet-David did not wait for PR spin or vague statements from the league. He called the incident exactly what it appeared to be, a racially charged attack on the WNBA's most marketable star. His response was immediate and unflinching, refusing to downplay the severity of the comment. The clip spread rapidly, forcing the conversation into the mainstream. What followed was a deeper examination of the tension simmering beneath the surface of the WNBA.
Happened Jameel Hill, yeah. She says, by the time she retires, Jameel Hill has made a bold prediction that Angel Reese will become the MJ of the WNBA by the time she retires. That's what she said. Okay. Let me continue.
Okay.
All right. So now.
The controversy exposed a growing divide between the league's established players and its rising superstar. While Clark has brought unprecedented attention to women's basketball, some veterans have responded with resentment rather than enthusiasm. The incident became a flashpoint for discussions about race, jealousy, and the future of the sport. Bet-David's commentary cut through the noise, demanding accountability where others hesitated. The stunning hypocrisy no one's talking about.
The game didn't need saving. I don't know who came up with Caitlin. What the game needed was a disruption in the economic marketplace, and that's what wants to cover the Fever and to watch the Fever fans.
Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA is undeniable, with record-breaking viewership and sold-out arenas following her every move. Yet instead of celebrating this surge in popularity, some players have openly criticized the attention she receives. The backlash defies logic, as no sports league thrives by rejecting the stars who attract fans. The situation mirrors a bizarre scenario where NBA players would complain about Michael Jordan drawing too much interest in the 1990s.
I'm good.
What's your mood?
Happy?
Happy? Well, are you ready for long flight?
Yes.
Yeah. Good.
Brittney Griner's role in this controversy adds another layer of irony. She became a household name after her high-profile release from a Russian prison, an ordeal that required significant diplomatic effort. Now, she directs hostility toward the player bringing real financial growth to her league. The disconnect is staggering. Griner benefited from massive public support, yet scorns the same energy when it benefits someone else. It reflects a troubling mindset that prioritizes personal grievances over the sport's progress.
With great expectations, we witnessed her become the most impactful player that we've seen in a generation. And it's a combination off the court, attendance, viewership, on the court, her prolific scoring, and also assists. We can say the same damn thing, y'all, about what she has accomplished.
The WNBA has long struggled for mainstream relevance, and Clark represents its best chance at sustained success. Instead of uniting behind her, some players and commentators have chosen division. This self-sabotaging behavior risks alienating the new fans Clark has brought to the game. If the league fails to recognize this moment, it may squander its best opportunity for long-term growth. This wasn't an accident, it's a pattern.
For the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
Griner's comment was not an isolated incident, but part of a broader pattern of hostility toward Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese has also engaged in on-court antics that many interpret as targeted disrespect. The media's role in fueling these divisions cannot be ignored, with some analysts pushing narratives that frame Clark as an outsider. The result is a toxic environment where talent is overshadowed by manufactured drama.
The WNBA is generating a lot of media attention that it didn't before. It always deserved to have this media attention when you look at the skill set, the icons that have come through the game. But sometimes the media needs to be drugged into covering something by a personality, by a rivalry, by whatever, the same way.
Jemele Hill's comparison of Reese to Michael Jordan was particularly egregious, given Reese's poor shooting percentages. The exaggeration was so extreme that it undermined any legitimate discussion about Reese's potential. Meanwhile, ESPN's Ryan Clark dismissed RG3's commentary solely based on his personal life rather than his analysis. These actions reveal a media landscape more invested in controversy than honest evaluation of the game.
By the time she retires, she will be the MJ of, go to Jemele Hill, type in Jemele Hill, yeah. She says, by the time she retires, Jemele Hill has made a bold prediction that Angel Reese will become the MJ of the WNBA by the time she retires. That's what she said.
The WNBA's leadership has remained conspicuously quiet amid these controversies. Their silence sends a message that this behavior is acceptable, or at least not worth addressing. If the league continues to tolerate this divisive atmosphere, it risks losing the very audience it has worked so hard to attract. The focus should be on basketball, not petty rivalries or identity politics. PBD's no-holds-barred breakdown.
Brittney Griner talking all that trash. We traded the merchant of death for your ass, and you're out there talking shit and saying racist shit on the freaking sideline, and it's disgusting. Okay, that's...
Patrick Bet-David's response to the controversy was characteristically direct and unfiltered. He played the clip of Griner's comment on his show and dissected it without hesitation. His verdict was clear. The words spoken were unacceptable and indicative of a deeper issue. There was no attempt to soften the blow or justify the behavior, only a demand for accountability.
Playing a game, and this is what Brittney Griner calls. I was not going to comment on any of this stuff until this took place. Watch what she says. The entire internet has reacted to this. Here's Brittney Griner. They're playing against the Indiana Fever, and look what she's saying. Go ahead, Rob.
For the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
That's pretty much something.
He did not stop at criticizing Griner's remark, but connected it to the larger dysfunction within the WNBA. The league's veterans have grown accustomed to operating in relative obscurity, and Clark's stardom disrupts that dynamic. Bet David highlighted the absurdity of players resenting the attention that could secure their financial future. His blunt assessment resonated with fans tired of the league's internal conflicts.
Frustration in a recent interview claiming that Caitlin Clark is ruining what used to make the WNBA great. Wait for this.
Empty stands?
Tom, let me just...
Go ahead, I'm so mad.
WNBA games used to be a chill, quiet place. You could bring your laptop and relax, maybe even get a little work done. But now... it's like there's a large gathering of people watching us from the stands. Some of them are yelling crazy shit about what they're seeing, putting unfair pressure on us to score like we're there for their entertainment.
The segment was a masterclass in cutting through narratives to address the core problem. Bet David refused to entertain excuses or deflection, focusing instead on the facts. His approach stood in stark contrast to the cautious commentary seen elsewhere in sports media. By speaking plainly, he forced a conversation that many in the WNBA seemed determined to avoid.
Brittney Griner is free after 294 days in Russian captivity. The last month spent in one of Russia's notoriously harsh penal colonies. Brittney was traded for Russian arms dealer Viktor Bout, who Vladimir Putin has been trying to get back and who had served 11 years of a 25-year sentence in the U.S.
A prisoner turned hater. The most glaring contradiction in this saga is Brittney Griner's position as both a beneficiary of public support and a critic of its effects. Her release from Russia was a national story, with millions advocating for her freedom. Now, she directs hostility toward the player, bringing similar levels of attention to her sport. The cognitive dissonance is impossible to ignore. She embraced the spotlight when it served her, but rejects it when it benefits someone else.
I think there's probably one other job that you're about to get into that is really hard and really scary. You're about to be a mom. How is that feeling? Pops. Oh, let me get it together. About to be a pops. Please tell me how exciting that is for you and what you're looking forward to most.
I'm super excited. I guess I'll...
Griner's comments reflect a broader entitlement among some WNBA veterans. They have grown comfortable in a league that struggled for relevance, treating new success as an intrusion rather than an opportunity. This mindset is not just counterproductive, but actively harmful to the sport's growth. Players who resent their league's popularity have no place shaping its future.
Right there, Ionescu, but with a top from Brittney Griner. BG!
The situation underscores the need for a cultural shift within the WNBA. The league must decide whether it wants to remain a niche interest or embrace mainstream success. Clark represents the latter path, but only if those within the sport are willing to follow. Griner's behavior suggests that not everyone is ready for that change.
Brittney Griner voiced frustration in a recent interview, claiming that Caitlin Clark is ruining what used to make the WNBA great. Wait for this.
Empty stands?
Tom, let me just...
Go ahead, I'm so mad.
WNBA games used to be a chill, quiet place. You could bring your laptop and relax, maybe even get a little...
The most ridiculous excuse in sports. Some WNBA players have complained that the increased attention has disrupted their routines. They argue that games were more enjoyable when played in near-double arenas without media scrutiny. This perspective is not just unrealistic, but fundamentally at odds with professional sports. Athletes are paid to perform for audiences, not to enjoy quiet gyms undisturbed.
Denied by Boston. Wheeler finds Clark.
Look at Wheeler. Stick.
The idea that a league should resist popularity is unprecedented in sports history. No other professional athletes have ever framed fan interest as a negative development. The WNBA's struggles for visibility have been well documented, making this backlash even more perplexing. If players cannot handle the pressures of success, they have no business in competitive sports. This excuse reveals a deeper resistance to change within the league. Some players seem to prefer the comfort of obscurity over the challenges of growth. That attitude will only ensure that WNBA remains a secondary concern in the sports world. True progress requires embracing the spotlight, not shrinking from it.
Reese with another rebound, making 18 rebounds. Remember, rebounds, looking, pursuing. Let's have another chance.
Angel Reese, the Michael Jordan myth exposed. The media's portrayal of Angel Reese as a generational talent is not supported by her performance. Her shooting percentages rank among the worst in the league, making comparisons to Michael Jordan absurd. This narrative is not just inaccurate, but actively dishonest, distorting the reality of her impact on the court. The exaggeration serves only to fuel unnecessary divisions within the sport.
Time she retired, Jamil Hill has made a bold prediction that Angel Reese will become the MJ of the WNBA by the time she retires. That's what she said. Okay?
Reese's supporters argue that her contributions go beyond statistics, but this is a weak defense. Basketball is a results-driven game, and her numbers do not justify the hype. The insistence on propping her up as a rival to Clark feels forced and transparent. The focus should be on rewarding excellence, not manufacturing rivalries.
Up to games, we got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, like just because of one single game. And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me, too, and I want y'all to realize that.
The WNBA must decide whether it values merit or narrative. Clark's record, making achievements speak for themselves, while Reese's supporters rely on hollow comparisons. If the league continues to prioritize storylines over substance, it will lose credibility with fans. True growth comes from celebrating real success, not invented legacies. The hypocrisy of elevating black women.
Megyn Kelly, she was saying that you were apologizing for your white privilege and the fact that you wanted to uplift black female athletes and make sure that they were getting the shine, kind of like your pioneers were getting the shine that they deserved. And I just want to know how you feel or how you respond to some of those criticisms when you have to deal with something that it's really not your problem. Like, I feel like it's them.
Caitlin Clark attempted to extend an olive branch by acknowledging racial privilege and advocating for the elevation of black women in the WNBA. Her comments were met not with appreciation, but with intensified hostility from the very voices demanding such recognition. This reaction revealed a troubling truth. The narrative was never about fairness or progress. It was about maintaining control over the league's direction and suppressing those who challenged the status quo.
Sick of the event. And then she says, the whole thing is toxic. I saw a guy with his daughter in the crowd, both of them yelling, couldn't hear what they were saying exactly, but it was either about my performance or some light racism. Definitely one of the two.
Patrick Bet-David highlighted this glaring contradiction in his analysis. He pointed out that Clark's willingness to address privilege only earned her more vitriol from certain players and media figures. The double standard is undeniable. Angel Reese receives praise despite poor performance, while Clark faces relentless scrutiny despite historic achievements. The underlying message is clear. Merit takes a back seat to predetermined narratives in today's WNBA.
Clark.
This approach does a disservice to the very cause it claims to champion. True empowerment comes from competition and excellence, not manufactured storylines or lowered standards. If Reese or others want to be the face of the league, they should earn it on the court rather than relying on sympathetic media coverage. Bet-David's blunt assessment cut to the core. Greatness isn't awarded through pity, but proven through performance. The Jackie Robinson paradox, Clark as the unlikely trailblazer.
Be the Jackie Robinson of the WNBA.
Well,
it's not like she's the first white girl.
She's not the first white girl, but she's the first white superstar at the levels where she's scoring these, the threes she's shooting. She's like a Steph Curry. She's the first actual superstar that people care. When's the last time we watched college basketball? If I told you, tell me to...
History often repeats itself in ironic ways. While Jackie Robinson broke barriers as a black man in a white-dominated sport, Caitlin Clark now faces parallel resistance as a white superstar in a league hostile to her presence. Both endured hostility for disrupting established norms, but with one critical difference. Robinson's league eventually rallied behind him, while the WNBA seems determined to marginalize Clark.
I think there's nobody in our league should be facing any sort of racism, hurtful, disrespectful, hateful comments and threats. Those aren't fans, those are trolls, and it's a real disservice to the people in our league, the organization, the WNBA. But there are a lot of...
Bet-David drew sharp parallels between their plights. Robinson endured racism from fans and opponents, but found institutional support from MLB leadership. Clark faces vitriol primarily from within her own league, a staggering indictment of the WNBA's priorities. Her dominance should be celebrated as proof of the league's growth, yet it's treated as a threat to entrenched interests. The tragedy lies in the missed opportunity. Clark represents the WNBA's best chance at mainstream legitimacy, yet the league seems poised to squander it. Bet David's prediction rings true. Future documentaries will lament how petty rivalries and toxic politics blinded the WNBA to its golden moment.
Being calls Angel Reese end of career will be known as Michael Jordan. All right, so for some of you guys that are watching this. Then,
unbelievable.
Have you seen this thing? So Jameel Hill, Rob, if you can find this thing.
Will the WNBA wake up before it's too late? Patrick Bet David's critique went beyond surface-level drama. It diagnosed the systemic issues dooming the WNBA. The league's embrace of victimhood, its racial divisiveness, and its rejection of meritocracy form a toxic cocktail threatening its survival. Clark isn't merely a talented player, she's the catalyst for the league's long-sought breakthrough.
Outside of that, RG3 comes out and says, man, Caitlin Clark is a superstar and she's, bigger than life and all this stuff. Ryan Clark, out of nowhere, Ryan Clark, who's a commentator, out of nowhere comes out and he says, well, what does RG3 know anything about this?
His warning carried prophetic weight. The moment Clark steps away, whether by injury or disillusionment, the WNBA's artificial growth will evaporate. Plummeting ratings and empty seats will reveal the harsh truth. The league mistook temporary buzz for sustainable success. Without structural change, this moment will be remembered not as a turning point, but as a cautionary tale.
We're obviously marketing around all of our players, but I think Caitlin's lifting everybody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Our arenas are packed, our viewership. I mean, this is a key part of why I was hired, is to look at how to bring in new viewers, new fans, the demographic. We're one of the most diverse demographics in sports, both on the court and now our viewership.
Yeah, it rocks, by the way, when you're in the stadium. We went and loved it.
The final warning, what happens next? Two paths now confront the WNBA. One leads to prosperity, the other to irrelevance. The first requires embracing Clark as the face of the league, prioritizing excellence over narratives and uniting behind the growth she enables. The second, doubling down on internal divisions and financial collapse.
It's when you look at Taurasi when she came in versus Caitlin Clark. A part of what Adam is saying is trying to say that the women empowerment is bigger than it's ever been before, and that's why this is going on. I don't know if that's the case. Maybe, maybe not. But the reality of it is, I've never seen anybody more exciting as a female basketball player than her. It's got nothing.
Bet David's assessment was characteristically unsparing. History suggests the league will choose self-destruction over humility. When ego overrides common sense, failure becomes inevitable. The WNBA now faces its defining test. Will it seize this opportunity or become another case study in institutional self-sabotage? The clock is ticking. Is the WNBA saving itself or signing its own death warrant? Drop a comment, smash like for merit over politics, and subscribe for the takes ESPN won't touch.